Next lesson yathu ndi ya Master Guide Chapamba. Abwera natsopano and he has gathered all his arsenals and he is ready to present. Master Guide Chapamba, to those people who have been in the system for a long period of time, is not a new face, it's not a new name. Many mwakhala makampu mtanja ena anunso ndi ma student Master Guide Chapamba, Innocent Chapamba. Zisa nabwere zina ndi zinazi. He was the one who introduced these things. My seniors yanchani kuchita chocho timazipeza mosavuta kwatu konkuno ku Malawi. He's a very creative young man, so energetic. A father of Njano. Yeah. Welcome to the podium, Master Guide Chapamba. And Chapamba is presenting how to maintain a Pathfinder club. How to maintain it? Isa gumuke, ikale olimba, solid for many years. How can we do that? The Master Guide Chapamba akubwera ndi program imeneyi. Na yeso ali 30 minutes of presentation ndi tiwasire manja mwawo. Okay, salumikiza koma the staff is going to share to us. So don't worry about what was happening on the whiteboard. This lesson, those things will not happen there, but
that was kwambiri amaiden morning pingo. Monga afotokozera panopa tufuna tiphunzire how to maintain a Pathfinder club. My presentation are in English. Is that so? All right, okay. I just wanted to make sure before I mess up things. Before we go into the lesson, there are several other presentations that I'm going to be involved. This one for maintaining Pathfinder club. As I present it now, there are some other areas that I am deliberately going to skip so that I concentrate in presenting them as I also co-present with the Muzengerere about the role of a teacher. Then there are going to be 2 other lessons outside that we are going to do the practicals for the Pathfinders. So my presentation here is indeed going to be very brief, but to the point, so that we are able to grasp something that we can share with our Pathfinders. I want to take it that each and every one of us is indeed involved with Pathfinders, and there are some other things that I am going to ask you to do, not because I'm belittling you, but because I know you are Pathfinder director. Do you get me? Okay, I can see that the class, so to say, is almost dead. Okay, the way you are looking at me, I don't know if you need something to eat right now or it's a time for break. I just don't know. But I want us to jack up a bit. I want to hear a response from you. If you are getting what I'm saying, this is what we are going to do. I'm just trying to switch off my phone so that it doesn't disturb me. All right, we're going to do it this way. Because most of the times as I present, I will need a response from you to hear that we are moving together. So I will ask you, is that right? You'll be answering, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You start with the sir. Is that right? Sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's going to sound like a Chichewa word, but it's English. But the way you're going to say it, it's going to be like, sir, yes, yes, sir, yes, sir. It's going to be like, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir. But it's going to be, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir. Is that right? Sir, yes, sir, yes, sir. You're going to start with, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir. Is that right?
Sir, yes, sir, yes, sir.
Yeah. That's what I want. I want you to smile, and that at the same time I should be able to know that we are going to march together. Is that right?
Sir, yes, sir, yes, sir.
Hey. If some of you are not going to say it, then I want to continue. Yeah, okay. And in between, okay, that other moral boost I'm going to share with you as we go out. Amen? When you are going to do some other practicals, because that's part of the Pathfinder ministry. What we need to do is that we need to make our clubs as lively as possible, and this is one of the reasons why we are having this in-service training, or this workshop for the Pathfinder leaders, so that our Pathfinders continue patronizing our Pathfinder clubs. All right, let me start my presentation this way. What is a Pathfinder club? Most of the times, when we know what we are doing, we are likely to do things right. Let me ask you, my fellow leaders, what is a Pathfinder club? Or Pathfinder ministry? What is Pathfinder ministry? I need responses from you. You are Pathfinder directors, Pathfinder leaders. You mean to say you don't know what Pathfinder is? I need to hear it from somebody. What is a Pathfinder? Or what is Pathfinder ministry? Okay. I can see a hand. Okay, let me continue. Number one, a Pathfinder club or Pathfinder ministry, it is a department within the Seventh-day Adventist Church aimed at leading the youth from ages 10 to 15. And now, this club or this ministry has a purpose, and it being a church-based organization, it means that we have to lead it spiritually. We are going to look into that, but let me first of all try to untangle some of the things that other people think in churches, more especially areas that have not gone through the youth ministry. To some of them, think that Pathfinder Club is about entertainment. So what we are saying is that point number one, Pathfinder ministry is not for entertainment. Is that right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Pathfinder ministry is not for entertainment. Okay, point number two. Pathfinder ministry is not a babysitting for parents. It is not a place where parents can send their children to church on Sundays or even on Sabbath just because they are tired of keeping them at home, and then they should have a leeway of trying to send them to Pathfinder clubs or to meetings with the youth. That is not the essence of Pathfinder Club. Point number three. Pathfinder Club is not simply another youth group. There would be several other youth groups that our youth can be involved in, whether at church or anywhere else. But Pathfinder Club is not just another youth group. Point number four. It's not just an outdoor activity-based club. It is not just a club where the youth can make an arrangement that we're going to take the 10 to 15-year-olds to Michiru, or we're going to take them to the lake, or we are going to have a picnic somewhere. That's not what it is all about. Then, what is a Pathfinder club? A Pathfinder club, it is spiritual at its core. Point number one, its main purpose is spiritual. We are going to look into all those other aspects. If it is spiritual and you think I am a youth leader, I am a Pathfinder director, but I don't seem to be spiritual, I don't seem to be so much versed in spirituality, how am I going to present spirituality to the youth when I am not spiritual myself? How we are going to go about it? We are going to share. Is that right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Is that right?
Sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
At times, I will ask you, are you okay? You answer, okay. Are you all right? You say, all right. All right, all right, all right. Okay, okay, okay. There are different things. Is that right? Sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Are you okay? Okay. Yeah. That's what I expect from you. I want you to go along with me. I am not here to scare you. Is that right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, so we are saying Pathfinder ministry has a spiritual component at its core. Okay? It is intended to lead members into a growing, redemptive relationship with God. That's what a Pathfinder ministry is there. As we're going to present with my colleague, we are going to look into the role of a Pathfinder teacher and how we can be able to lead our children to spirituality. But I just want you to know what a Pathfinder ministry is all about. Okay? And Pathfinder, point number 2, Pathfinder ministry is experience-based. It is a ministry that is expected to impart experience of various other aspects of life to our Pathfinder leaders. This is the reason why we are equipping you as leaders to have those experiences, that kind of knowledge that you can impart to your Pathfinder, your Pathfinders from your various zones that you're coming from. Okay, it is organized and led to build members into responsible, mature individuals who contribute to their families, their church, and their world. That's Pathfinder. You know, there was a testimony one other time way back when during the attack on the Twin Towers in America, when Osama bin Laden had attacked the Twin Towers in America and the Pentagon. During that disaster, a lot of people lost their lives. And others were actually buried in the rubble of the buildings that had fallen. There was only one group of youths from the entire American continent. Only one group of youths from a church-based organization, Pathfinders and their leaders, went to the Twin Towers to help rescue those people who were involved in that catastrophe. And the President of the United States of America then, George Bush, came on TV and testified about how great the Adventist Church, through their youth, had helped the nation of America. I expected an amen from you. Our fellow youths, our fellow leaders, organized Pathfinder clubs from within America to go to the World Trade Center and help in rescuing those people who were involved in that catastrophe, just because they had trained them in first aid and what they could have done to help those people who were in need. And those who trained these youths are just leaders like you, the master guides like you. I want you to have that kind of mentality where you will think of Pathfinders as a group of people that you can use for ministry, a group of young people that you can train so that they can make a difference in the communities where they are coming from. Is that right?
Sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So these are the basic two things that I needed you to know about Pathfinders. Then other focuses. It is programmed to help members realize that there is something that each one can do to their neighbor through active, selfless service. That's what I have just said. One other element that works very well for evangelism is to use youth to youth, or to use fellow youth to evangelize fellow youth. There are times that we meet challenges because when an elderly person tries to approach a young man and tell him about the effects of smoking or indecent dressing, they will resist and say, this is the trend, this is what we are doing these days. It's fashionable to drink, it's fashionable to smoke, it's fashionable to moralize, it's fashionable to dress as if you are a mad person. It's fashionable. That's what they're going to tell you. If you're going to say, look at you, what kind of trousers is this? But they're going to tell you, but this is the new one. You see? But looking at that trousers, it has holes everywhere. And even for girls, they would have theirs, which is also cut from here. So you would wonder, what do they want to show you? But for them, it's okay, it's normal. So if one Pathfinder would be converted and feel that that kind of dressing is immoral, for those who confess and profess that they are Christians, if that person reaches out to a fellow Pathfinder, it is going to have an impact. Because they are going to say, he is my fellow Pathfinder. If he thinks this is not right, let me introspect and decide that I should not be part of this kind of dressing. Is that right?
Sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Let's continue. There are other slides that I am deliberately going to. All right. As I have already said, let us look at the purpose of the Pathfinder Club. From there, we are going to jump and come to a point where we are going to see how we can maintain that club. I'm not going to go into those other little creatures about pathfindering, because at the end of the day, we would have spent most of the time that we could have shared the exact things that you will need to do for you to maintain a Pathfinder club. Okay. Purpose of the Pathfinder club is to provide a church-centered program. Their programs should be church-centered, number one. Number two, it should also incorporate a recreational spiritual program. It is deliberate that we have to put it recreational spiritual program, because there are some other programs that are recreational but are not spiritual. I'll give an example. We can organize a soccer match between our various clubs, but the emphasis should not be on the winning, but the physical fitness. You can emphasize that. And good relationships that you're going to build, yes, between the interclubs that you are working together. That makes it spiritual. And at the very same time, you are going to teach how others can accept defeat. You know, there was a story making rounds in WhatsApp and on the social media about one other young man from Malawi who committed suicide just because his parents programmed him for success all the time. He was never told to say there are times that you can fail. And he committed suicide just because he had lost a job and it was taking too long for him to be employed again. Then he just decided to throw himself from a story building, throwing himself down. Then he died. Okay, then another point, as I have already said, it is for young men, 10 to 15. That is a known fact that each and every one of us is familiar with. And Proverbs chapter 22, verse 6 clearly says, you should train a child in the way that he should go, and when he is old, he will not turn from it. You see, when we read this text, it becomes very difficult at times for us to understand that indeed our children may go wayward, but at the end, something is going to haunt them for the rest of their lives, and they're going to come back to church. You know, there are other examples that probably may not be able to make sense to you until such a time that you're going to have a Pathfinder or a youth in your own home. You know what? I wanted to give you an example of my own boy. There are times that we say a lot of things about church youth who go astray. There are times that we attack even the parents and say, okay, Azeri Abanda, Akwempedoda Asunte Galimodo, Agaye Maulena, Godi Alinabo Zochita, Pamalvina Abanga, Pat Galimodo. All right, let me continue. Let me not give you the testimony. I wanted to share you a testimony of my own stand. But for the sake of time, I will jump to that one. Is that right? Yes, sir. Mike says it's not right. It's not right. Yeah? You are accommodate me for 2 minutes. All right. This young man had gone through Adventist schools from primary. At secondary, he went to government secondary school. Then he goes to Blantyre International University. While he's there, he mingles with other youths. And he decides to go his own way. As parents, we had tried to reason with him and remind him all that he had gone through with the Pathfinder Club and all that. He would go to the camps. As he was a Pathfinder, or I should say as from adventure, he has been going to camps. There are times that we could organize adventure camps. Then after the adventure camp, we would go into the Pathfinder camp and the senior camp. That is at conference level. When he was an adventure, at the end of the adventure camp, he would refuse to go home and want to continue with the Pathfinder camp. I would allow him to do that by liaising with the other leaders to say, look at this young boy. He feels he cannot go back home. I'm going to pay for him so that he continues with the Pathfinders. And though some of the programs are not going to be in tandem with his age, but I want him to stay here. He was there. When one of the presidents of the GC came here in Malawi during the centenary celebration, for Malawi. He was amongst those people who marched and presented some flowers to the president of the GC. Now, as he went to college, he became a changed person. I am saying this because he is my son. There came a time that he even put dreadlocks. Yeah. And people say, yeah, that's it. The role that we had taken as parents was to pray for him. Every morning, we would pray for him at home. And we also have a prayer band at my church. We meet every 4:30 every morning. I happen to be a member of that prayer band. We could be praying for him. What I want to tell you now is that through prayers, when you're going to see him now, for those of you who have seen him in dreadlocks, he's a different, changed person.
Amen.
What we are saying is, Proverbs 22 verse 6 is powerful. So sitting down with him to ask him, what has made you to decide that you should shave off the dreadlocks that you were having? Says, I felt that it was enough. I had embarrassed you enough. And at the very same time, I remembered who I am spiritually. I remember we had one of us, Margaret Sintabile. She died of BP. She just collapsed because she had heard that one of her sons is smoking marijuana, and we had chased the boy from the camp. He came for camping at Malawi, but we had a promptu inspection in their dormitories. We discovered that there was some hemp in their bags. Then we decided to find out who was the owner of that bag, and it happened to be one of those boys. As I am telling you now, the mother passed away, but this boy is working for National Bank. He is in Chihuahua now. He is a changed person. We have a very challenging ministry. For those of us who are working for the youth, we have a very challenging ministry. We're going to meet those challenges. But what we need to realize is that we are supposed to be there for them. There is one other lesson that we're going to share as we continue in other presentations that we're going to look into mentoring. How can we become mentors ourselves in the process of trying to maintain the Pathfinder clubs? In our Pathfinder club, we need to have a vision. We need to have a vision as a leader to map where you're going to take your Pathfinders and where you're going to lead them to. If you're not going to have that kind of thinking that we need to have a roadmap for what we're going to do with our Pathfinders, definitely they are going to realize that you don't have anything to present to them. I want to challenge you that most of the youth that we are leading today, they have already been bombarded with a lot of knowledge from the internet, and they have a lot of other things that they don't know, which you yourselves do not know, if you are not going to have that kind of time to study even further about youth matters. You're going to be left behind. And if you're not going to study and learn more about the youth today, their cultures, their generations, their kind of language and dressing, as I had already alluded to, then you're going to be left behind. They are going to see you as somebody who belongs to the museum, and they are not going to listen to you at all. So it is very important that you should have a vision and say, where do I want to lead my youth to? Okay? And by having a vision, you are going to answer the reason why they should be involved. So point number one, to maintain your club, you should have a vision. When you have a vision, you will know why the youth should be involved or why they should be part of the program that you have actually written down, or the vision that you intend to present to them. You should have a vision. Point number 2, you should have a mission. You should have a mission. When you have a mission, you know how you are going to do it. Having a mission means that you are going to know how you are going to do it, or how you are going to go about your plans or your visions that you have. So there comes an element of planning. Let's come to another point. For you to be able to maintain your club, you have to be optimistic and enthusiastic. That is to say, you as a leader, if you're going to maintain that club, you have to be optimistic and enthusiastic. By this, I mean to say, there are times that most other leaders shoot themselves on the foot. You have a very nice vision. You will have a very nice mission. But when it comes to execution of what you had put down, you will be belittling yourself, or you will be doubting yourself to say this is not feasible, this cannot be attained. I'm going to give you an example. There was a time at our church. I just have 5 minutes to go. Anyway, we'll see how I'm going to go about the other areas. Okay, I'm going to give you an example of a leader who is not enthusiastic, and at the very same time, who is not optimistic of what he is going to do. I'll give you an example. You would say, okay, at this church, we do not have any master guides. There are some other churches that started just the same way some of your churches started. You may not have any master guide at your church, but you gather the youth that you have with you and suggest to say, young men, we want us to train so that we can become master guides. We have a lot of Pathfinders, we have a lot of adventures, and those people that need our services as leaders. But by the look of things, we do not have a master guide here. How do we go about it? We don't even have somebody who can be able to train us. What do we do? Then you will sit down with your committee, decide to say, okay, how many of us are interested to be in the club? Okay, how many of us are interested to be trained as master guides? Then some other people raise hands, and then you enlist those people into that club. But now, how are we going to go about it? None of us is conversant with these things. Okay? Now we are trying to look at the way forward. How are you going to do it? I'm going to give you our own example. How we did some time back before some of you were born. What we did was that we decided to search for a leader within our district. Then we decided to speak to this leader so that he comes at various points during the week, but we could share some other lessons and some other chapters to study by ourselves. Then we would sit in a group setting. Then we discuss where we could not be able to understand the stuff properly. Then we would outsource this guy who would come to our place. Then he teaches us those things until such a time that we became invested and became leaders. So that is to say, you have a vision, okay, you have a vision, you have a mission, and you know how you can go about it. Those are the things that intend your club. And that is to say, you are not belittling yourself. You are saying, I can do something. You are optimistic and enthusiastic. that you're going to make it, and at the end of the day, you discover that you have achieved what you wanted to do. So that's one of the points that I wanted to share with you. For the sake of time, one other element that I'll have to tell you, as you are looking at trying to maintain the Pathfinder Club, is that you will need to live an exemplary life yourself. If you cannot be able to be exemplary in what you are, then definitely you're not going to have a lot of Pathfinders being in your club. You are not going to maintain that club. And at the very same time, there are other elements that definitely are going to be tackled as we come into the other presentation to do with the roles of a teacher. As we are directors, at times we double as teachers and see how we can be able to lead our Pathfinders. Let me stop here at the moment. Are you okay?
Yes.
Are you all right?
All right.
Okay. Okay. Yes, please.
My comment kuvomereza kugonja tikaona mmene zikukhulira masiku ano wakutipawo walisavuleza kugonja wakosana lesonisa kale kwanawo komasona kale then ndizikuvomereza kuti abaza nekela unajana failing does not mean you are failing, but you have not succeeded yet. So if you take that, well, you give a wasati ndalipera basi ndipo zipeza basi ya ndikana chimezi ndipo zipisa basi zimezi sio bwana
tieni tiwaombere manje.
Yes, so you are clapping hands for me. Let me
How to clap.
how to clap for me.
Yes, he knows how
Are
to
you
clap.
okay? Are you all right?
Okay.
There is another clap. So that I should feel. I told you I'm doing these things for your Pathfinders and not for you. Okay, you can hold the mic for me because I'll need my hands. Are you okay?
Right.
Are you all right?
Okay.
Now we're going to do it this way. Today, that is not here. I am going to teach you another club outside. Are you okay?
Right.
But I am going to do this one, which we used at Kanjedza Academy. Is that right? You have forgotten. Is that right, sir? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So we are going to do it this way. Kalesoniga kanali wow. Ndiye numukomera kuti wow. Are we together? Yes. Was this lesson wow? Wow. Okay, so we are going to clap. Everyone who comes here, you are going to give him this clap. Is that okay? Right. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay. When I say, was this lesson wow? You will say, wow. Then we are going to count 3 times. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Then it, mwah, mwah, mwah. Is that right? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Was this lesson wow? Wow. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Thank you so much.
Yes, that's him. I do remember him because he was the one of those people during the Youth Alive programs. I'm not seeing them nowadays, whether they are gone or they are still there.
We should organize a seminar.
Exactly.
At conference level or at some level.
Yes, because that time it was Lead Live, so I remember him for that. Yeah, was this lesson? Wow!
Wow.
Amen.